Hey there, Stephanie Joy with all things Social Security and the law practice of Joy Disability. Here's a short little segment from our recent live stream Q&A that we have every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube channel, All Things Social Security. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will be sure to get to them. Thanks so much. Bye-bye now. Hello. Happy Wednesday. We live stream. You guys are well. Looks a little quiet. Everything's fine here. Typically busy week, of course. Got a lot of people doing a lot of different things. We've had a lot of workshops, if you will, to make sure everything is jiving with everyone's roles. So that's always fun. I see we got Kevin Johnson in the house from Tennessee. Morristown, if I recall. How you doing, Kevin? Good to see you. And Sherry Romero. Good to see you, Sherry. I'll get to your question shortly. LaRocho says, good afternoon, Stephanie and everyone. Hi, LaRocha. All things Social Security is the bomb. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. I couldn't agree more. So, Low Monkey, as I said, here's Low Monkey. Oh, Low Key Monkey. Okay, that's an interesting name. Hope you're well. First time here, I think. Yes, I'm a lawyer for more years than I care to count. So yeah, go ahead and ask a question. ENS says good afternoon. Afternoon to you too. Hey, Rain Gal's in the house from Tacoma, Washington. Hi, Rain Gal. Nice to see you again. This lady's in the house. Not sure if I've met you before. Focus lady. Nice to meet you. She says, question, do attorneys help with congressional SSDI requests? They might. I mean, if they do those kind of pro bono things, then they might. I mean, are they obligated to do it? Of course not. They don't even get paid for what they do. But I know when I have a client, I do it automatically. That's when, all the excess stuff gets done too. I mean, I would assume, I've never had a prepaid consultation with someone who wanted the help putting together the congressional SSDI request, but it stands to reason. I mean, it's no different than anything else. It just costs a bit of money. So sometimes I can imagine you might not want to do that. But yeah, I'm sure anybody would do a consult on that. R. Willie says, hi, R. Willie. How do we get a hold of you who are looking for representation? Okay, at the top of the chat, I put the link for the free evaluation for those that are looking for representation. And I can just tell it to you too. If you go to joydisability.com, in the upper left corner, I think on every page, but just go to the homepage, there's a link for free evaluation. And you can just click on that. And on the right-hand side is the clicking for starting to arrange for a prepaid consultation. That would be only for people who are not going to be getting representation, because we wouldn't be able to accept them due to wait list in a particular category or anything else, or they don't want one, they want to do it by themselves, they just want a little guidance. That would be what those consultations are for. But the free evaluation is for representation only, and it's a very short form. You go and you pick your age category, and because that's going to tell us which rules apply to you. And my team will look at it, and they will also compare our current caseload, which is there's a bunch of SSDI technical categories, and we see how many are in each one. Some get waitlisted a lot faster than other ones, unfortunately. There's a lot of categories that some of my colleagues won't take, and I understand that. We do take them. It just, they get filled up really fast. So, but you are free to fill one out, and then they'll tell you pretty fast if it's category full, or if it's not, they're just going to shoot it over to me, and I'm going to call you. So I'll see it if they slide it sideways. The Root is in the house. Hi, Root. Hi, is a congressional inquiry to move a Recon case stuck at step 3, waiting to be assigned for over 3 months, provide any meaningful results? I think probably, I will say that sometimes I see 4 or 5 months, depending on which state. Some states are just better at managing their staff, hiring the right amount and stuff like that, because those are all state workers, as you probably know. They're not federal. They follow federal law, but they are not federal. I think it's getting to be the point where you could ask your congressman to do a congressional inquiry. And just for the rest of you that don't know, you would go to your congressperson's, official site. And I always say, look for we have 3, right? We have our 2 senators in our state, and we have our 1 House of Representative congressperson, and that's for our local district. Otherwise, it's state level. So I always say, look for the one that's up for the closest next re-election. Maybe it'll be more butt kissing, right? Because they want the vote. Just an idea. That's my strategy anyway. 3 months is it's not. I don't think it's unreasonable to say, hey, it's been sitting there without it. And the only thing that is going to do is alert them that you're inquiring about what's going on. Why is your case not assigned? And it's very possible the response back to him will be, it's waiting its turn. We have a big backload, but we understand the person's getting antsy. It's not supposed to be that way to have you jump to the front of a line if you're in the proper position in line to begin with. Now let's say you've been sitting there and people have been bypassing you and they don't have priority. They're not like veterans that are 100% P&T, which kind of gets a bypass a little bit, or a dire situation person, which could be they're in the middle of eviction, like literally legal eviction has already started, or foreclosure has been filed and they're going to lose their home. Some of those are going to go faster. Not necessarily fast enough though, but let's say you got stuck in a crack and for whatever reason, maybe it's coded wrong or something, and you are sitting there. That's what the congressional inquiry can do. It can say, just take a look at this and make sure he's not waiting in the queue inappropriately, or not even in the queue, right? Queue for, the line for an adjudicator to be assigned. So I think 3 months is not being ridiculous to do it at that point. If that makes you more comfortable. I think if it was 1 month, I'd probably say, give it some time, but 3 months I don't think is terrible. I get close to doing it at that point myself. Michael LaPlaca. What a nice name, Michael. I don't think we've met. Michael says, I received a denial letter, 53 years old police officer. Oh, thank you for your service, Michael. Who had to retire due to on-the-job injury. So many of them, right? Had FCE, he's probably referring to a functional capacity evaluation, which is something that might happen in the police arena. It happens in the workers' comp arena. It's not actually the same for Social Security, but sometimes they can be helpful. Which doctor determined I can no longer perform the duties of a police officer? Okay. I don't know if you had a question, Michael. If you did, post it in there and say, hey, I'm the police officer. And here's my question. And then I can scroll it. Sherry says, the PCP RFC sits in, walk less than 2 hours, cane, hand reach limits off task 20%. Your doctor said all these things, I presume. 2 to 4 absences a month, mental, RFC, schizoaffective disorder, hallucinations, market limits, and so everyone's probably like, that's an amazing, the doctor said all that. And it is good. It's only as good as what his medical records already said. So like if at all of your visits, he's like, oh, she's good, and none of this is alluded to, this opinion is going to look contrived. It just is. That's why we always say, look through the medical records first, find out all the good things that kind of can point to something like this, and then do that particular thing. Same with mental. If the mental person, what she did, she talked about the hallucinations. If she discusses the various hallucinations and how frequent they are in her records with you, maybe she's witnessed you have them, that kind of thing, then that's going to hold more, certainly some water. I mean, it's funny how that pushed in 2015 to get rid of the treating source opinion rule, and they did get rid of it. They made it effective a little bit later, but they did it like around 15 and 16. They were pushing for it. That's what said that a treating provider's opinion is no more valuable than a stranger doctor. I mean, how ludicrous, right? But obviously they wanted to cut back on awards back in 2015, and I'm sure they succeeded. So again, if their records talk to these things, like I would assume that if you can't sit more than 2 hours, he speaks to whatever the impairments are that prevent you from sitting for 2 hours. Same thing with standing, walking. The cane, he must see you in the office with a cane. So at every visit he sees it, just say she's here with her cane, walking with her cane. Did he do strength tests on your hands? When they say squeeze your, did he do that all throughout his, he saw you a lot, right? He's your treating provider. Did he do that at most of the visits or all of the visits? Off task, why does he say 20%? What in his records would support that final conclusion? Do you get a little ditzy? Do you lose your focus when you're talking to him? Maybe it could be, her pain levels, like within 15 minutes of the appointment, visible pain observations, all that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of things that you hope are in his records. That was a tortoise. Didn't that sound loud? Did you guys hear that? She wanders around, she walks over my feet, but you do want those providers that you gave it to have robust records, because otherwise it is not well supported by the medical records. And you want it to be not inconsistent with other medical records. Now, if you have other medical records that are very blasé from a different provider, but this doctor's back records are very supportive of his own opinion that he gave later, where he shoves it all into this RFC, that probably should be more valuable than the blasé doctor that doesn't say squat. And your records are kind of useless. Okay, so here we go again. Shine, I don't think we've met, but thank you for being here. I just wanted to go. She says, well, she or he, I don't know. Where can I find the correct RFC form? There is no correct RFC form. The residual functional capacity is an assessment done by the SSA after they look at all your medical records. So what people are alluding to when they talk about giving an RFC form to their doctor is they want to give him those questions or some sort of questions and have him give his opinion. So that will hopefully be supportive of disability of the level that you need for your particular vocational profile. You're very active. So if you give him the 10-pager or whatever it is that you're going to find on the internet, the SSA one that they give to their doctors that are looking exactly for certain things, okay, and are getting paid to fill out 10 pages, that I think is very risky. I have a video on my opinion on how that can go and stab you in the foot, and usually it does. You're giving your doctor a 10-page thing when he doesn't even know about 90% of what's on there when it comes to you, because that's not what he treats you for. Secondly, as I've said before, if he says you're very limited in how much you can stand, it's like she used to do 12 hours, waiting tables, and now she can't even be up on her feet for 6 hours out of the whole entire day. Well, he just kind of confirmed potentially that you are not stuck in sedentary work, that you could do light work. You just can't do maybe the lifting of the trays, maybe not the 12 hours on your feet, but you could do 6, and now you're not disabled. Because he doesn't know those definitions. He doesn't know the law. My fan is blowing me around. So what we do, and it's rare that we have a doctor that's going to be willing to fill it out, we take certain questions that are relevant. The answer given is going to define whether this person's disabled or not. We don't ask about the pinky finger if pinky fingers are not going to be relevant. But those pinky finger questions are going to be in that big, massive one that, you think you're going to get your doctor to spend 2 hours on unpaid and give it and give an accurate answer that will be believed. I think it's better to pick the questions that are relevant to your particular case. It's very specific. What is the avenue, the needle threading to get you from all these 12,000 jobs up that little path to no jobs available? What is the evidence going to be that will eliminate all those so you can thread that needle to award? Those are the questions that I would be asking that guy, not the ones that aren't going to matter, right? So to know that, you have to look at what his records say and see which things could be supportive of the things you need. So you have to know what you need, and then you need to know how to recognize it in his records if it exists. That means he has to articulate them. And I'd say that a big problem for claimants is that the vast majority of medical providers do a horrible job articulating on any of the relevant things in life for the patient, particularly things that will affect their SSD claim. It is just the way it is. We have some rare occasions when it's not, but they're rare, and I love those guys. They're like gold or platinum, and everyone else is wood or something. Terry says, I'm nervous. I'll say something wrong. It's a tell. As you know, if you have any questions or something you want in a video, post it under any video, any of the pre-recordeds or any video at all, because I will see it. I get to them in within about a week now. It's a little slower because there's just been a lot going on. But, and I try to keep it in the back of my head, like, oh, do a video on that, do a video. So I will do that. But in the meantime, a lot of the videos right now are clips of questions and answers. So people don't have to sit through this whole thing with a list out in the description of these are the things that are covered in this one. And there's like the title usually talks about one of the things that are talked, but you can't really fit too much in the title. One of the issues discussed, questions asked, but there is a short list at the top of the description so you can see what was touched on in that. So let's say you're interested in CDRs and you said that we touched on CDRs. Maybe you want to catch that video and see what we talked about. All right. Thank you, Independence. I hope you have a great evening also. All right. Yeah, leave your question on the comments. That's perfect. Thank you all. KU, thank you to you too. Pam D, you as well. Nice to meet you. And I will see you guys next week. Hopefully, bring your friends and share, like, and what do they say? Comment. All right. Bye, guys.